This is the I Love Success podcast. I'm Peter Jabrukowski, and I have made a vow to myself to help as many people as possible to achieve their dreams. Let's get started. Hey guys, and welcome back to the I Love Success podcast. This is the first show I am recording in 2021. I am super excited to have a fellow martial artist, karate athlete, and just a cool human being here today. And for everybody that is new to the show, before I introduce this week's guest, we're all about success and finding your success, building your life, create a better place in this world for you, your family, and the rest of us. I truly believe in putting out positive things in the world. And it will always come back to you. I've been watching Cobra Kai season 3 now with a lot of good nuggets from Mr. Miyagi. And one of them is, if you put good things out, good things will come back. I truly believe that. I get so much positivity in my life, and I want to believe that it is because I do a lot of positive things myself. I try to walk the planet with a smile. It's not always easy. My wife's grandfather passed away yesterday, and today I'm actually super sad. And that's part of life too. It is okay to feel your emotions, and it's okay to be sad, but we also need to know that all emotions in our life teach us something. We're not here for a long time, but we're certainly here for a good time if we choose to. So yeah, excited for 2021. And this week's guest, I believe this guy has a crazy good mindset. I remember when I was a junior, I think you're 4 years older than me, and I watched you compete. You was always very strong. You look like a machine on the mat competing, and I always admire that with you. So I'm super excited to have you here today. Today's guest name is Christian Grüner. I hope that was okay for the last name. um, and he is German national athlete. I mean, he was on the national team for 14 years, 12 times national champion. He was a world champion, a university champion. He has medals from like all the biggest competitions, which means that he has done something right and that he has learned a lot along the way. So without further ado, welcome Christian Grüner to the I Love Success podcast.
Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you very much. Nice to be here with you. And I'm really excited and happy to be part of your project.
Awesome. So before we dig into your life, I want to talk about something that a lot of people feel right now. You know, when there's a new year, most of us are positive. We are looking at our life. Hey, it's a new year. I'm going to kick ass. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And especially this year, everybody's like, fuck COVID. We're good. 2021 is going to be a good year. And that excites me. But it also pisses me off because I know that 90 or 95% of people is not going to do any fucking change and expect better results. So that makes me sad because we think just because it's a new year or a new day that results are going to come or we're going to change our life, instead of looking at ourselves and see what we can do differently, because life doesn't work that way. Come January 1st, COVID is not gone. Our problems are not gone, but we can work on changing ourselves and working in a better way. So what's your take on that? What do you want to say to people right now that are ready for a change, but they're also ready to do the work?
Yeah, from my experience, also during my whole life, you need to work. You need to have goals, and you need to do something for this. And maybe some guys, they get things as a gift. So maybe athletes or people, they have a gift, certain gift. But my secret is that for me, it was a hard way to achieve my goals. But I kept on. I did my work, and I was motivated. And after reaching my experience, after reaching my goals, I think I even appreciate it more than somebody who just gets it like a gift.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, I was the same in my life, and I never, it never came easy to me. So I learned how to work for it, and you learn a lot of things during that way. So can we just start sharing your story? How did you come into karate, and why weren't you good at it when you started?
It's really
And
funny what you talked about, because you talked about Cobra Kai
yeah,
in your beginning words. And to be honest, the first episode of Karate Kid was one of the main points to start karate. And yeah, just to I was interested in the movies, in Karate Kid movie, Jean-Claude Van Damme and Bloodsport, and different other movies. And so this was like the first step to get into. But after the first two lessons, I got to know that it's a little bit different to do karate, to train karate, and then to watch it in the movies. And so for me, this was a really yeah, funny experience, because I was expecting something different, but I was not disappointed about it. For me, it was even more like a step, like a push to do it for 100%.
yeah. And I mean, it's funny, because Karate Kid, I started karate as well. My father is my sensei, but I never wanted to train. But after watching that movie, um, I started. But reality is different, right? And I think that what you said is really interesting. Sometimes we look at a movie or we read a book and things sound so exciting, but then actually doing the work is harder. Uh, how, when did you start to fall in love with karate and know that, hey, this is something that I really want to do?
And to be honest, it was love on first sight. So in the first lesson, I just enjoyed the group. We started with 80 people at the same time, and after 1 year, it was about 10 people who were continuing the training. So for me, was like in the first lesson. So that was my sport, the thing what I was waiting for my whole life, because yeah, I really love the discipline. I really love the focus on special techniques, and on the training, and just to keep out the normal life, and just focus on something that brings you forward. And I just enjoyed the first lessons. I also had very nice teachers who really were really motivated to teach us karate, even if they were just blue belts or orange belts, because they didn't even know so much, because karate in my region in Eastern Germany was not allowed before the wall was breaking down. So that's one point. It was really new, and nobody knew about it, and was like a little bit the secret, we are doing in the training.
Yeah, that's exciting. And how were you as a kid, Christian? What were your interests? How were you living your life? I remember karate was for me was very good because I was the smallest kid in my class, and I also had yeah, I was also fat or overweight is the better word maybe. So uh, I wasn't picked first in soccer or football or sports. So karate gave me so much good things because when I put on the gi and I was suddenly equal to everybody else, and I got that discipline and training. So how was it for you as a kid, and what did karate give you?
You know, for me it was the opposite way. My grandmother every time called me Gandhi, because I was so skinny. And that's why I told my grandmother, now I'm doing karate, and she was telling me from the first time, no, please play table tennis, it's not so dangerous. And and even some years later, when I had my first injuries, she was telling me, why didn't you play tennis, why didn't you change the sport? And after some years she understood, because yeah, karate just totally changed my life, changed my behavior, changed everything. And everything I'm now is because of karate. So I think in this moment, before I did karate, I was interested in sports, but not particularly. But then I just focused on karate, and was like I was in love with the sports. And
Yeah.
maybe could be also a different sport, but for me this was like in the right moment, the right decision, and everything afterwards, even with the hard work, was like for me an honor to have an impulse on my life.
Yeah. And how did it change you? For people who don't know karate, how did it change you? You're saying that it changed your whole life. You're a different person. In what ways?
Yes, it's the easiest way to show it's like if you go into school, you go to school and you have to do like a lecture, or you go and have an exam and everything else. And for many people, it's a very big problem to show your yeah, to show the things you learned before other people, and to be self-confident in front of others. And I think the karate was one of the main points for me, that had no problems anymore to do something like this, to speak in front of people, to show what I learned, and to do your best, and to focus on your goals. And this was, I think, my main point, because of the belt examinations. You have to do it 100 times, the techniques, and you have to show it to the trainers, you have to show it to the examiners, and this gives you more self-confidence. The more you do it, the more you get forward, the more self-confidence you get, not only in sports, you get it in your life. And this is the main point for me.
Yeah. And when did you start competing in karate?
I was like from every time in my life, since I started in 1993, like it was 100%. So I started in 1993, and 1 year later, I was doing training 5, 6, 7 times a week. I was just doing regular training, no competition training, but going to seminars, learning katas, learning techniques, and like this. And 1 year later, in 1994, I did my first competition. It was like a Christmas edition of a competition in my club. So it was, yeah, it was like the first time. Everybody was so excited. And to be honest, I was not the best of the group. There were some guys who were even more talented, but I was looking so forward to this competition. And I did kata and kumite, and in kata I lost the first round, but in kumite I won against my opponent. He was a friend, but he was much stronger than me. But I just wanted to show that I did more training. I was more working for my titles, and that's why I won this match, because I talent is good, but if you don't work for it, it's not enough. And so I showed it in my first competition, and this was like the main point to start competition karate.
Wow. And I think what I saw with you when you were competing, you always looked fearless. Um, is that true, or how did you work with fear in your competitions?
I I never was afraid about my opponents or other people, because my best matches I did in open competitions. I was 65 kilograms and was fighting against people with 100 kilograms. And this was never a problem for me to be afraid of losing or afraid of an opponent. But of course, the feeling you get, the particular feeling you get in your stomach before coming to the competition, was the same for me. But everybody told me, also my coaches and my colleagues told me, that I was like in a tunnel. So for me, I just had my aim, my goal in my view, and everything else I was not thinking about. I was not thinking about other people and what they think about me if I lose or whatever. I just focused on my work on the tatami, and the same was in the training.
Oh, I love that. Did somebody teach you that, or did it come natural to you?
No, I did it for myself. I don't
Yeah.
know. That was maybe one of my gifts, my talents I have. I was not talented in the movement, in learning, but I was talented in focusing. So never ever in my training, my students are laughing about me, but nobody had to ask me, "Do you want to come to the training?" So that was never an issue for me. So I was the one who was every time 1 hour before each training in the dressing room, just preparing and focusing on the next training. And we were today, maybe it's not possible to understand, but I was going with a friend of mine with a small motorbike for 100 kilometers to the training, just to go there. And it was cold, and my butt was aching, but when you go into the training room after sacrificing so much for coming there, then you go for every second in the training to do everything 100%. And if you get, yeah, your parents drive you in a nice Mercedes Benz to the training, and you come there, and everybody's yeah, happy for you and doing everything for you, then maybe it's not, you don't get the focus like maybe you do the preparations and the work that I did.
It's incredible. And I'm getting goosebumps because I'm looking back at my own life as an athlete and as a karateka and competing. And those moments are incredible, especially when you're in that fight. And I loved fighting in the open competition as well. It was just an amazing feeling beating and defeating these bigger guys. But I think the main question, or the $1,000,000 question, having such an amazing life as an athlete, feeling these moments, what happened after your career? Like how did you deal with that?
For me, it was no problem because I had, like I told before, I had my goals. I knew that my career will finish, and I knew that there should come something else afterwards. So I was, during my athlete time, I was starting training with groups, doing lessons, trying to build up something in karate. And so it was for me like just a soft way to close my career. So maybe this would be one interesting point, how to finish a career, because everybody's asking me, how do you did that, and why do you miss the time on the mat now? And I said no, because I finished my career with a perfect moment. And you just we had maybe if it's too much, but I hope we have the time for this.
Yeah.
We had the European Cup in my region, near to my hometown, and we were in a team competition, and we had 3 matches, and the first was lost, the second was a draw, and I needed to win, and I had to do an ippon. I had to do 2 points to win the match, and like it was like it was planned. Yeah, it was heaven sent, I don't know, but I was in the match, and it was 1-0 for the other one, and I did the final 2 points, and everybody was throwing me up in the air, and bringing me out and celebrating. And this was the moment I would wish every athlete, yeah, in life, just to have a good feeling to finish, and not the feeling, oh, I need to do one more, because this is not good, because you torture yourself. And I think if you are realistic in your career, and you're realistic what you plan and what comes afterwards, then you find a good way to finish.
Let me ask you this. Did you know coming into that competition that it was your last?
Yeah,
You did.
I
Okay, you
knew.
already knew.
I knew. Yeah,
Amazing.
I
Uh,
knew. And I tell everybody that not no money in the world would bring me back after
yeah.
this.
I mean, I always wanted to finish early my career. I never wanted to be like, I think athlete career is almost like the stock market. If you're trying to hit the highest point, it's luck. Come as close as the best you can become, and then be okay with going out. uh, that's my opinion, because it's so hard for me to see all these older athletes that are keep doing it, and now they start to lose to these young hungry guys and girls. And I admire them for doing that, because I don't want to, don't want that in my life, because that I know that would mess up my mind uh, a lot. So I think that's cool what you did. What do you want to say to other people that are looking for, they're going after something? When do you know when it's time to quit? How do you know that?
I think the most important point is if you have it in your own hands. So if you have your matches and fighting and winning, or whatever you do, also in business or whatever, if you know I have it in my own hands, I can choose, and I'm the one. If I'm performing, then I will be successful. But if I give something into somebody else's hands, for example, to the referees, because they know my name, I'm the older one, I'm the experienced one. Yeah, if I do it, if I know my coach is very well known, and that's why maybe the referees and everybody is supporting me, then I know it's time to go, because then it's it's there's different aspects that decide if you're winning. But for me, it was very important to be the main aspect to win.
Yeah.
Of course, there's different circumstances. Yes, of course. But if I have it in my hands, I can choose. And if I have the feeling maybe it's time to hand it to over to somebody else, or there are some people there get better and better, and you have it even harder to achieve the same, working more to get the same results, then it's time to maybe rethink what you really want to do.
Yeah. And what has been the hardest moment for you as an athlete, and how did you overcome that?
Sometimes when I'm doing some jogging rounds in the forest, I'm just screaming like, "Oh no! Why did you do this? Why did you do this?" And I had it one time. I had it really one time. I was in 2 years after my world students title in Belgrade. It was in Belgrade. I was in New York, and I was in the semi-final, and I had a really tough opponent from Italy. He was really strong, and when we met, every time one times me, one times him was the winner. And this time I did 2 points. I was leading in 2 points, and then he was winning 4-2 because he did Joko gave 2 kicks
Yeah.
to stop me because I was running forward after my lead. Not I had all time in the world to wait and to let the time do the work for me, but I wanted to beat him too much. I wanted to go out with 6-0 or 8-0, and that was my mistake. And the biggest problem then was he went to the final, and it was okay. He was the better fighter, the more clever fighter, because I did a mistake. And in the final, his opponent was not able to fight. So that's why he was champion, world champion, after winning against me. And this was really hard for me because I knew I did one mistake, and this mistake stopped me from repeating my title, my world title.
And what did you learn from that moment? Because what I hear, I've been in the same position that I want things too much. And my father, who's my sensei, he always tells me it's like having sand in your in your palm. If you grab it too tight, you lose it. If it's too loose, you lose it. You have to find that balance. But
Yes.
so I'm curious, what did you learn from that moment of wanting it too much?
This is a really, really good question because this was the moment for me to rethink my work and my training and my way of life with karate, and also the rest of my life. Maybe in the until this moment I was very focused, and sometimes too focused, and I nothing else was very important for me. So the life, going snowboarding, going partying, all this stuff, for me this was not important. So I focused on my sport, and afterwards I thought about, okay, if you want something too much, maybe this keeps you away from getting it. And then after this moment I tried to learn, and this was a process. I learned step by step to let go sometimes, not only to be too much in the subject. And this was the experience for me. And after this time I had the best time of my life as an athlete. Maybe not every time successful, but I was happy, and I was celebrating even if I maybe didn't get the first place. And so I enjoyed my life and my athlete career even more.
So are you saying it's more important to focus on the process than the end result?
I think you have to focus on the result, but you don't have to over focus on this. So you need to have your goal, and the process is even more important. But it's for my side, it's like to if you do it too much, if you want it too much, you won't get it. As you told, with the sand in the hand. So you have to find the right balance between focus and refocus and relaxing. And that's the thing. That's the way. And even the champions I know, that's the way they get the success the best.
And how do you know when how much is enough? Like I think that's the hardest question with everybody is always asking, how do you know how much you should want something in order to not mess it up for yourself?
Okay, that's right. My former coach told me there's like a light button. So you have the light on or you have the light off. And it's like this. If you go to the training, and even my training lessons when I'm teaching are the same. You need to find the right balance. You need to have time when there is 100%, when you have to do everything and you have to be exhausted. But there has to be a time when you need to relax, you need to learn, you need to cool down. And this is very important. But the most important point, and I think many athletes today, especially the young ones, they don't have it from themselves. I don't know why. To if the light is on, the light needs to be on, and this is very very important. And sometimes they don't get the way to focus at the right point. There's so many distractions today with the media, with everything else. So I think it's really important to refocus, and then if you do your work afterwards, just to let go and to relax. And so if you find this balance, it's very important. And I try to teach it to my students. So one example, for example, school. I tell my students, if you do school very well, then you have time for the training. Then you are relaxed, and then you can focus on your tournaments and on training. But if you don't do this work, then the other work on the sports, on the tatami, won't be successful. And this for me is the thing. Do it, put the light on, and sometimes put the light off and just let it go. But you decide when, and you need to decide.
Yeah, I think that's a great advice. I think that the next question is, that's so hard though, right? Because when you want to become the best, a world champion, build an incredible business, become an actor, musician, or whatever it is, it almost takes over you as a person, which is sometimes a negative, right? That's what we're talking about. How do you switch it off? How do you just like bam?
That's the art. That's the art. I think this my experience was that I needed to learn it from people who do it very well, and to have role models, to have people that they are same way like you. So of course I'm different to everybody else, but I see how people who are successful, who do it very well, and who are positive. And the positivity you also told in the beginning is a very important thing. So you need to be positive also to reach your goals. And but you don't have to be too disappointed if there's something you don't get. So my main in my life, my main words were, you have to hope for the best, and you have to be aware of the worst, so you won't get disappointed. So you have to be positive, you have to want this, and you will get it if you're positive. But if sometimes there's disappointment, you don't have to be down, you have to step up, you have to be strong, and work even more to get the thing.
And I think that comes with experience too. I've seen a lot of athletes, and I'm in sales. I see a lot of salespeople. I see a lot of people trying to become better. And when they reach one or two failures, they take it as an excuse to not continue. And what do you
Mm.
want to say to those people? Because learning all these things that we are talking about, right? This is high level mindset. And I think the only way to learn that is to, lose and to not get what you want. Because if you always get what you want, it's hard to learn those lessons.
Yes, yes. I think it's totally the right point. I'm also convinced of. When I was starting my career as athlete, every match I had like a paper book, and I read what did I did good, but the more important thing was my mistakes, the things I can do better. And this was for me like even a bigger chance to learn from my mistakes than to learn from my things that I did good. And my first 3 or 4 years, every match, every tournament, I did this. And for me, this was like a big process. And me and my friend, we just went through whole Europe just to go to the tournaments. And the first tournament, I lost in first round. Second tournament, first round. Then maybe second round, third round. After 2 or 3 tournaments, I was getting to the medal matches. And then step by step, I won my tournaments, and nearly every tournament. Then afterwards, I got results. And this was like experience for me. And I'm telling it every time to everybody: you need to start from the scratch. You need to go step by step upwards. That's very difficult. Maybe if you're so talented and gifted, you get what you want in the first place. But for me, this was like a process, and this process made me better as an athlete, as a trainer, as a person, as a husband, as everything in my life. So to be aware that you can do mistakes and to learn from this. And one very important sentence I'm telling every time: you do much stuff, then you do much mistakes. But it's very important to do a mistake only one time, the same mistake. And this is a thing I was trying to, and everybody I'm telling to, I think is right, is in the same opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And uh, w- one thing that I'm thinking a lot about, you're working with a lot of young athletes, coaching them. What challenges do you see today with people that are trying to become better at their sport or their thing? What are the main challenges, and what are your ideas for overcoming them?
Mm. I think one point I told you before is like the focus on the goal. And sometimes maybe it's not very good to have a too high goal to reach. Like I told also before, to do step by step, to to maybe go to the tournament or to go to the school and just tell, okay, I need to have a small success, like to get 1 point in the tournament or 2 points, or maybe win a match. So this is a goal that is reachable, and afterwards you're happy. Because if I send my athletes to a high level tournament and then say you need to get first place, it's no chance. So if you set your athlete the right goals, and if you give the good feedback, and if you just try to learn from the situations, I think this would be is the best thing.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And I wish I knew that when I was competing, because I know winning everything in Sweden, and then you go to all these international tournaments, and you have in your mind, hey, I'm gonna medal, I'm gonna win. And I think I would have probably done much better if I would have worked on those small little steps like I'm trying to do in my life now. And I mean, that comes with experience, but I'm also glad that you're able to be a great coach and teach people not to do the mistakes that I did or maybe someone else did. And that's why I love having these conversations, because people that are listening, they can learn from that. And setting those small targets, small wins gives you confidence, right? If you always lose,
Right,
it's going to
right.
take you down. uh, so
That's right.
do you write down your goals, or how was it in your mind? Do you write it down? Like, how did you do it?
Yeah, I was writing my goals. I had like on my desk in my flat where I was living. I had a big goal, and uh, I had like a mirror, and then there I wrote my ideas and I wrote my goals. And every morning I was looking at it. I was reading it and spelling it, that this is my goal, and so I was repeating it. And even before the matches, I was telling myself the idea. I was telling, I want to be uh, on the podium. I want to be in the first place. And this was helping me a lot, because of all distractions, all stress and the stuff. It was like something I hold myself tight, and this helped me very much. And even if people came to my place, they were looking at this, and they were asking me and was explaining about my goals, and even this supported me in my way to reach my goals.
Yeah. And when you set the goal, should it be like, how should you feel when you read it? Should it excite you? Should it scare you? Both? Like, what are your thoughts on that? How do you know when it's a good goal?
Yeah, yeah. I think the best expression for this was looking forward to this, looking forward to your goal, looking forward to the final competition, or looking forward to the lecture, or to the appointment. This was for me. This was the best way to work with my goals. And as I told in the beginning, to be a fighter, to go on a tatami, this is not usual human. Usually people try to avoid fights, and I think it's a very big experience to go on the tatami and to have a fight against somebody else, even if it's in the rules and if it's safe and secure. But I think it's really very important to honor everybody who's going on the tatami, because it's very hard, and not everybody is going this. If you have 100 people, maybe 10 people would do this step, and this is very important. And to help people to do this step, to get more people to get the experience, because it's not only winning, it's about winning for your life. This is, I think, the most important point, and this is my goal, to get the experience I learned during my fights, during my career, to help people, not only in sports, but help in their lives.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with that. And I think the just stepping on to the tatami, or whatever it is in your life, you're listening to this, most people are spectators. They always look at others, but going on to the arena, it takes courage, it takes a risk. Just by doing that, you are a winner and you're going to learn something. And I want everybody here that are listening and watching this show to understand that not everybody can maybe become a world champion like Christian, but you can become a world champion in your own life. You can become the best version of yourself and compete against yourself to become better. And that's why I love karate and kind of the belt systems, because in a way you're competing against yourself and your own progress, and we can all become better. One thing that I'm curious, what has been the best experience of being an athlete and traveling around the world, and what's the best experience by doing that?
My best experience, or the experience
Yeah, your best
of for
experience
everybody?
for you.
Okay, my best experience, absolutely with no doubt, was the invitation to Dubai. So the me and some part of my team were invited to the Princess of Dubai. She was practicing karate for several years, and she invited us to her palace to train there. We had like a 5-star hotel, first class, and everything was took care of. And every day I woke up at this time, I was just said, "Oh, it's a dream. It's a dream. What you're living there. It won't come back anytime again." And it was the greatest experience for me, to be so honored to be part of this. And so I was just really crazy, and I was telling me every evening before going to bed, this work I did every day in the dojo, every day on the tournaments, this work paid off to get experience like this, to get to know extraordinary places, to get to know extraordinary people. And this is worth the work, and it's part of the work, because I achieved this, and maybe I believed to get experience like this, but I was not in this moment, I was not ready for this.
I mean, it's incredible. And I remember when I was competing actively, you always heard friends and people that were not supporting you, like, "Oh, why are you doing that? You're not making any money of karate, and you're not doing this, you're not doing that." But I always knew how much it gave me, and it was such an incredible experience. And no, I mean, it would have been great if we would had more finances in karate, but nothing can give me the knowledge and mindset that I have learned by doing karate, and also by challenging myself on the highest level. And I think that is something that a lot of people lack. So what do you want to say to people? How can you encourage them to challenge themselves on the highest level in their life?
I think it's really important not to do like every time the same every day, and just to follow your own way without looking to the side. And I think, as you told in the beginning, you have a certain time on the earth, and it's very important to create something, to leave something behind you, and to have an influence on other people. And I think it doesn't matter if it's in sports or in your job or in your family, whatever. I think to be an influencer in a positive way, to have the to have the experience that if you're not there anymore in the world, the people will remember you and will have a positive feeling of you. And to be not just ordinary, just to find your talents and find your ideas of life. This is very, very important, because everybody loves to be admired, and everybody loves to be pampered by the people. But you have to give something to get something, and you have to be somebody who is a giver and not a taker. And this is for me very important, to be open-minded, to help people, and not to be take everything you have for yourself, because it doesn't help you. You have to give something out of you, like you do with your great show. And I think this is the right way. And it doesn't need to be in sports or in something else, but you need to find a way to maybe to give a chance to get your talents and your work to other people.
Yeah, I agree with you. And what are you, if you look at your life and the future, what type of legacy do you want to leave to the world?
This is an interesting question. I think my most important legacy would be like a good friend of mine who passed away, just to think about the person, and you smile. You have positive experiences, positive memories of this. And this for me is even more important than like the name on a plate or something on this. The people who think about you should have a smile, and should think this was a person I like to have spent time with. I like to share things. And I think this would be for me a very good legacy, because my friend told me before he died, he told me, you know what, when I'm in heaven, I'm reserving a table for us. So I keep some places for you free, so we can come together, and then we sit together and have a good time. And this idea and this thoughts he told me before he was passing was just for me amazing. And every time I think about him, I'm smiling. I'm happy to had time with him. And if I would leave the same impression to the people, this would be perfect.
I love that. And I think as competitors and as wanting to achieve something, sometimes we take our results so seriously. We're chasing goals so much that we forget to smile and have fun on the way. And I know for myself, my best competitions has been when I've been happy. The best results is when I'm smiling and happy. How can we get back to that? People that are watching now, they're tense, they're it's hard. I want to achieve this. How can we go back to relax, have fun?
I think my whole life was made like love what you do, love what you do. If you, I would not go to the training if I don't love it. If somebody is forcing me, so it's the same in the job. If you just go to the job and you go there and just wait the clock turning, then it's not the right thing. When I do my work, I have every time the same problem, the lack of time, because the time is running so fast, because I'm so into my work, especially in creative work. So and I think that's the thing. Then you're even more motivated, because you like it. You like to see the results. You like to get feedback of it. And this is the thing. And it's the same in the training. For me, I love to teach people, because I see how they develop, and I see how happy they are and how they are changing. And it's not a big work for me to to bring a talented athlete to the German championship, but maybe somebody who's very hard to achieve it, to help him, maybe to get his first belt. For me, this is sometimes even more success to help somebody else who's not who has no talent or who has it more difficult to achieve it than to bring somebody who's like a running horse, just say go and reaching his goals. And I think you need to love it, and you need to like you need to love the process to develop.
Yeah. I think a lot of people love the end result, or at least the idea of the end result. But I think the problems comes when it's like, how do you love the day to day, especially when it's hard, right?
Yes, that's the point. Like we have in Germany, COVID, the same like in the whole world. So to tell the students to keep on training, to stay focused, even if they don't know the next tournament or to where to go now. It's very important to stay in this, because now in the moment it's not easy to get the goals. But for example, when they told me Olympics will be shifted to the next year, I was telling everybody it's see it in a good way, because we have karate is 1 year longer Olympic sports. So
Yeah.
this was my first impression. So to be positive, even if the situation is worse. So I try to every time have a to have a plan B, to every time to have something in the hands, even if something bad is happening, that you're not losing your goals, and that's very important, I think.
Yeah, I think so too, because things are going to change along the way, and that's okay. I mean, one thing that I early on in my career and early on as a martial artist and human being, I was so stuck on my goal that sometimes I forgot to see that there was something better. Uh, and I think it's good to be very decisive and focus on your goals, but also be open to other things, other people's ideas. I used to always say, hey, if I make a decision, I'm not going to change. And I thought that was a good thing. But
Mhm.
now I like to be convinced, if you have something better to tell me today, I would love to change. Why not change for the better, right? And I think ego is something that comes in the way, and I see it a lot in sports. How have you worked with your ego, and how has that helped you, or how has it not helped you?
I think what comes in mind with me is um, to be open to just get the focus how other people maybe look at you and how other people think. So sometimes it's very important to change the perspective and see yourself out of a different direction, or just to understand how other people think or how they decide like they decide. And this helped me very much, because even in karate, because of the old system, the sensei is the decision maker, the sensei is telling you what to do. It's different. And if I have a fifth dan, a fifth black belt, I'm better than you with a brown belt, and it's not the right thing. And if you're too much in the old system, just think about the hierarchy and who's over and who's older, who's better, and things. I think it's not the right thing for me. This change of perspective was, even if I told you at the championship when I was losing, was helping me to get more motivation, to also get along with criticism. Yeah, to see maybe something good is in a bad thing. And I think it's very important. So when I know many people, they went to karate training of another teacher and they told me, this training is not good, it's bad, the trainer is doing a bad lesson. And I was telling, no, there was one exercise that was great, and if you do like this, for me, I learned a lot and I improved myself. And this is the same in my life. If you have a discussion with somebody, you get to know somebody, maybe who's angry about you, to use the chance maybe to convince somebody or get convinced by somebody else. And I think this is very, very important in life, because everybody is different. Everybody has different point of views. And if you're thinking you every time right, then you're totally wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. It's interesting because I just finished this morning the book Green Lights with Matthew McConaughey, and it's a very interesting book about 35 years of his notes and diary. And one story he tells is when he went to somewhere in Africa, and he's in a village, and two people are discussing something, and they seem to be very upset. And he asked them, why are you guys fighting? What are you guys fighting about? And said, no, 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 you're very wrong. We're not fighting. We're trying to understand each other. And we are not looking to be right. And that was very interesting for me, because in a lot of conversations today, we hear people, they argue for their cause just so they can be right. And you should think that I'm right. But the real conversation, shouldn't that be about understanding each other and understanding different ways of seeing things? You don't have to agree, but at least can't you build an understanding?
Absolutely, absolutely. Many conversations I'm having with other people. Sometimes somebody is telling something wrong. It's a mistake. Maybe it's a wrong number or something like this. But what is good for me to tell him in front of everybody else that he's wrong? What would he do then? He would try to defend himself, and he would remember me just as somebody who's showing his mistakes. And this is the thing what he was thinking about me the rest of his life. So I can tell you one story about a good coach. I really liked him, but he did one mistake in a training. I was just thinking about him, and he was just bringing somebody who was doing a technique wrong, and he brought him to the whole group and showed this guy is doing it wrong. Now this is a mistake. Look at this mistake. And what does this guy think the whole rest of his life about this trainer? He just is thinking about the situation, his embarrassing situation he was brought into. And I try as a coach, as a person, to avoid something like this in front of everybody else, because this is the worst thing that I don't want to have experienced. So I don't want to let somebody else experience this.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think it should. And it's interesting because I do come across a lot of people when there's something that's wrong, they are trying to point that out, and I say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, let's move on. And then I hear them, they say it again and again, I understand, but let's move on. I think, I don't know why people are stuck in the need of being right. And if you're listening to this and you're one of those people, I think you need to change that, because looking at the best people, I've had the honor of speaking to over 200 people from all over the world, doing all these amazing things, sacrificing, giving their life to something that they love, and none of them are like that. That must
Mm.
say something, right? That positivity wins, love wins, passion wins.
You made the right point. I think maybe this is one of the keys to the success, because it doesn't make sense to stuck on the mistakes, to stuck on the wrong things, to have to carry on and to come over it. And this is the thing we talked about, the tournaments, losing, getting experiences and try to learn and make it better. So of course it's common thing to say sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, but it's the right point. You learn every time, and even if you're winning, you need to know that it's just a moment, and it's just depending on some different circumstances, and you need also to learn what to make better, because nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect. There's no perfectivity. It's just something you can improve, something you can carry on and to change. And I think this is very important. And this is all you can only achieve it if you're positive, because otherwise you just say, "Oh, the world is crazy, and I have no chance to change anything." And then it's, I think, the beginning of the end.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Christian, I have one last question to you, and then I'm going to let you go. For people that are listening, that are still here watching this, what's the one thing they can do right after this show to really kickstart 2021 and don't be one of those people that come March, they're the same person that they were, because they want to change. If you want to stay the person you are, if you're happy, I'm all for it. But if you want to grow, you're probably here listening to us. So yeah, listen in, because this is going to be good.
You know, many times changing New Year's Eve, the people are telling themselves what they want to change. But the problem is often the people don't achieve it because they stay with their ideas for themselves. They are staying alone. So try to get some help. I'm just, of course, I was telling myself for this year also to change something. And you know what? I try to change my eating behavior because I'm eating very fast, very, very fast. Because I was, when I was 65, after weighing, I was just throwing all things inside. And even 15 years after finish my career, or maybe 19 years, I was not able I'm not able to change it fully. And I was telling my wife, please help me. If you see this, and I'm not angry with you, please tell me, because it's in myself, and I need to be active to change this behavior. And that's why I she's helping me with this. Sometimes just tell me, hey, come on, this time you're twice as fast as me. And so I think to not to be with your goals alone, share it, maybe get some goals together, and ask somebody how he's thinking about the stuff. And like you told me, share the things and not keep for yourself. Then it's also easier to reach the goals, and more hard to avoid reaching the goals, I think.
I agree with you. We need accountability. We need people that uh, can help us be accountable. And Christian, I want to thank you for this time. Had an amazing time today. Conversation was incredible, and yeah, thank you so much for doing this.
Was a big pleasure for me, and I really thank you for the invitation. And I wish you all the best, and I think it's a very exciting project, and I will follow you to your next steps. And yeah, wish you all the best.
Thank you, Christian. And thank you, everybody that are here listening, watching the show. It's a new year. I'm excited to grow this show even more and to share it with more people. As you probably know by now, I want to help at least 10 million people to go after their dreams. I mean, that's a hefty goal. That's something that is important to me. But the most important thing for me is you that are watching and listening right now. If you can take one nugget, change your life this year, it makes me happy, makes me want to continue doing this. Uh, this is all for you to use and learn from. It's totally free. So take advantage of it. Check us out at ilovesuccess.co. Check us out at iTunes. Give us a review if you want, so more people can find us. Subscribe on YouTube as well, where you can see the full on interviews. And yeah, I just want to say thank you guys, and I hope that you are taking action to get a little bit closer to what you really want.